Hi, my name is Dominic. I'm a filmmaker, writer, and a photographer. Well, I first, I guess when I was 8, I saw the movie RoboCop, and I really liked that, and I would make films with my friends throughout high school, short films, and I taught myself how screenwriting from books, started writing, but in school, they didn't like my writing, they kicked me out of school. I went to a bunch of alternative schools. I went to a film school for a year. At 18, I got kicked out of there too. A lot of it I taught myself, but I've always been watching movies through most of my life. Most of high school I spent just watching movies. That's what I did most of high school. Filmmaking and photography, I don't really think they're different. I think they're kind of the same because when you're working with a model or actress, it's the same thing. You direct them. You either direct them to do something, but I don't really like directing them. I like to them to be natural and see what they do, and then if they do something I don't like, I correct them to in the performance. But I like them to be natural because I feel like you could tell that they're faking it, and I don't like that. A lot of the people I work with are my friends, but even a few professional actors I work with, I don't correct them. I just let them go with what they do, and then if I don't like it, then I correct them. But even with my friends, I just let them be natural and do what they want. And sometimes, with my friends, since they're not professional at all, that they don't do anything I like, and I get a ton of bad photos, but still, I still don't give them much direction. I just keep going until I give something I like, because a lot of times we do take photos all day, because because with someone who's not a natural actor or something, you can't force them too much direction, then they don't get anything, and they have to be natural. So I think it's the same thing. It's they're both very similar in how you direct, in the way you direct people. You just point the camera and you're capturing something. I think I don't know. I don't really see and setting up the lights. I think it's it's the same thing. Just one is still and one is moving. They evolve from the same thing. I think they're the same. Well, probably my two favorite directors filmmakers are Pier Paolo Pasolini, the Italian director. I think he's my favorite because his films have said a lot, and he protested against a lot of stuff in Italy, and so many people didn't like what he was saying. He was gay, and he was communist, and after he made Salo, which I think is one of his best movies, he was murdered, and people still don't know why, and they killed him, I think, because they didn't like what he was saying, and a lot of people still don't know about his movies today, and I think he was a very important person that people need to know about. I think that's what movies should be. They should say something important, and also, so he's my favorite, and also I like Abel Ferrara. I like a lot. My favorite movie is Bad Lieutenant, which I think that's the best Christian movie of all time, because it's about a nun who is, a police officer who's so corrupt, but then he sees a nun who's raped, and the nun is able to forgive her rapists, and that is so powerful to him that he turns his whole life around based on this nun who's able to forgive the rapist, and that's the most Christian thing I've ever seen, ever portrayed in a movie, and that should be shown in every Catholic school, everything, because that's the most Christian thing ever, and that's why. Another one of my favorite movies is La Grande Buffata by Marco Ferrari, which has a lot of the greatest actors in Italian movies, but not a lot of people mention it. And it's about all these people from high parts of society. They get together in this villa, and they all literally eat themselves to death. They all eat food, and they all hire these prostitutes, and they have sex and eat until they all die. And Marcello Mastroianni's in it, and all these famous people from Italy. That one, and Happiness by Todd Solondz. That's a really good movie that says a lot about about this pedophilia, and that's not addressed a lot in film. I think that's a really good movie, and that they don't cover that subject a lot, and I think that needs to be talked about. So that's in the news all the time, and people need to address that. My photography is important to me. I really got interested in photography after I saw the movie Kids and read about Larry Klug, and he was a photographer when he was younger, and he photographed his friends and a lot of his friends, and so that's when I started learning about well, I got my dad's camera, his old film 35mm camera, and I kind of taught myself that too. But then I took a few classes, and that became very important to me, the learning. Once I started learning photography, it helped me a lot with the filmmaking too, and so photography and filmmaking, I think they're both very important, and they're both almost the same. So I think those are both very important. Photographers, I like, some of my favorites are like Andre Serrano. I like him because his photos are like Renaissance style paintings, and like they're beautiful paintings, and I mean beautiful photographs, and I like photos that are more like in studio shot, and like I like street photography too, but ones that are more like take you out of reality, that are more surreal, like almost like surreal paintings, but not really heavily photoshopped or anything, but are just done realistically. Like I don't really like a lot of Photoshop, or even in films, like a lot of the digital effects, but just realistically, and they look surreal. And like Andre Serrano, I guess Robert Mapplethorpe is another one. And they're provocative, and but they're also very, very tastefully done, and they're very, they're very good. And also I like, of course, Larry Klug, the filmmaker, who is also a photographer, and also Nan Goldin. Both Larry Klug and Nan Goldin, they do photos of their friends, but they're also very beautifully lit, and they're also, you could see in the friends' faces, like they've been through a lot, like all the stuff their friends have been through, and the photos really look like films almost, but they're real. I just did a movie I wrote, Sprawl, which was it's based on a bunch of my friends, about a girl who's a cutter. She's a lesbian, and she has a broken relationship with her mother, and her life is not really good. And it stars Nicole Fox from America's Next Top Model, and it's a really important movie to me, and I think it talks about my friends who are very hurt. And I think it'll be important for people to see when it comes out. I think it'll eventually be out, and for people to see. And it was directed by Dean Ronalds is his name. He did a movie called Nether Beast Incorporated, and he did a really good job directing it. And his brother Brian Ronalds produced it, and my mentor Tom Malloy, and they all did a really good job. And people should see it. And So Hideous, My Love is the one I just did. I got the idea because I talked to Nicole, who was in Sprawl, and a bunch of my friends who are models, and just how the modeling industry like uses people and stuff. And so it's kind of based on how photographers in the fashion industry will use models and use people. And so I made him like a serial killer, and how like how the Nazis, like Joseph Mengele, would take photos. He was like a serial killer, take photos of his victims, and the Nazis would do experiments on people and try to breed the perfect person. So it's kind of like fashion industry exploiting people, and like making them like the fashion industry like serial killers and like the Nazis, and that's the messaging behind it, I guess. If you want to, I guess, check out my stuff, my photos and my films and other things about me, go to migliorephoto.com, which is my filmmaking website.